Right. So, Mr. Roger Boy, Mr. Roger is Roger.
Roger
Roger, right?
Boynes,
I
yes.
think I
Yes.
think Roger was right. So, Mr. Boy, tell us about yourself. Tell us about yourself and why you have chosen to go up for the position of General Secretary of the People's National Movement.
Well, I'm from the Sangre Grande area. I was born and raised in Sangre Grande. I went to school at Hillview College. Then I went to the university. I studied law and graduated as an attorney at law in 1990. I Within 2 years' time, Mr.
Mm-hmm.
Manning came and encouraged me, to get involved in politics. And in 1992, I became one of the youngest chairman of a regional corporation in Trinidad and Tobago. I served there for 3 years, and thereafter, he asked me, and the constituency asked me, based on all the sporting programs and all the community work I've been doing for decades, because we just love that. The community had asked, and the constituency at that time asked me to run for the seat as the member of parliament for Toko Manzanilla, which I did, and in 1995 was successful by a margin of let's say about a couple hundred. So I went on to serve the constituency of Toko Manzana at the time, now Toko Sangre Grande, for approximately 4 consecutive terms, with the last term being the highest margin victory ever recorded in that area of about 6,000. So I took the margin of victory from a couple hundred to about 6,000. And one will ask, how did one do that? It was based on service to the people and respect to the people, and respect in particular to my executive and the membership of the PNM. And that allowed us to work hand in hand together and to grow the organization in the Sangreani region, in Tokomanzana region. I then was lucky that I was asked to serve as the Minister of Sport and Youth Affairs. And in 2002, I became the Minister of Sport and Youth Affairs for Trinidad and Tobago. And I oversaw certain landmark events like the Brian Charles Lara, making 400 runs and that sort of thing. And indeed, we were lucky to, based on hard work, proper planning, to take the country to the finals of the FIFA World Cup in Germany in 2006. I say this because I bring what I feel
Mm.
is my dedication, my hard work, my never say die attitude to the office of General Secretary. Because General Secretary is one of the most important posts in this organization, in a political party. A General Secretary comes like the CEO of the organization. He has to ensure that the institution is well oiled. It functions at its best. And not only at
Mm.
headquarters, where we have to make
Mm.
sure that we have financing to start with, that the program, the database is properly digitized, that members' records, that accounting records, the operations of the political party is at its very best, not only at headquarters level, but also now in the constituencies, because you have 41 satellites, and each is a replica of the head. And all of these satellites, these constituencies with their party groups situated at every polling division, must be well serviced and must be functioning at its very best. So anytime an election is called, anytime, they will be prepared for any eventuality. And I must say so, that it is my intention to ensure that we service our party groups and our constituencies. I recall the late Martin Joseph, when he acted as general secretary, for instance. I belong to my executive, and sometimes a party group member will have a problem. He will have a problem in Toko, for instance. and he will send that problem message of that irritant to his constituency executive, who in turn will write the GenSec, and the GenSec will communicate with the respective minister, and don't you know, within a week or two, the minister comes down to the area to see what the problem is, and at some point in time addresses the issue. You see, the constituency executive, the party group structure, the party itself acts as checks and balance, right, to the government ministers to ensure that they don't lose touch with the ground and that they service the ground properly. We want to bring back that structure. How do you do that? Because we have lost 104,000 people. Why? Because they felt that we lost touch with them. But they are there. They are there. And the constitution and the structure of the PNM allows for us to be in touch with the executive, right? With the government. So what do? We go back to basics. We go back to the constituencies. We go back to the people. We go back to the party group. And we start having training programs. We start working with them to raise funds. We start energizing them. We start inspiring them. So they will then now be operating at their very best. If each 41 satellites operate at its best, then the whole and the whole is digitized. You know, you have your membership list. You want to get your party card. In a moment's notice, you could get that. Now, once we have this operating at this maximum level, you find we can start rolling out things. You know, I was talking to a young lady, not a young lady, an elderly lady today, and she called me to pray with me. And she was giving me an experience that was very touching. She said, Mr. Boynes, you know, we in the party group, we raise funds, you know, they have so and so in the bank, and we are so energized and whatnot. And you know what we do? We sometimes, you know, we have the raffle, you know, we do our thing and whatnot. And sometimes, whenever a child, for instance, has to write exams or has written the exam and passed the exam, they give a token, they give $100. So the party group has always been inspiring the ground where they are located. And we, I recall, we at the head office, and I must say we at the time, right, Martin, because I used to work with Martin at that time and what, they're giving him a lot of assistance and so on, and learning from him, of course. And what we used to do, we used to go around the constituencies and see who is doing what, and sometimes even give them some funding to join with them in whatever program they're running. And that used to inspire them. It used to ensure that the party group structure, you know, was second to none. And we used to encourage them to grow the party group structure. Now, one of the things of a general secretary is to maintain the contact with the different constituencies. He has to ensure that he works hand in hand with the election officer. He has to work hand in hand with the field officer. He has to work hand in hand with the welfare officer. And he has to work hand also with, I would say, the social media. Now, you have the elections officer, 41 of them. You have the field officer, 41 of them. You have social media. You have education. All of these, 41 plus the one on the executive, we will sit down and roll out a strategic development plan to see how we can roll out and help party groups in all 41 constituencies and strengthen the party group structure, strengthen the constituencies. How can we empower them to get into a business, utilizing the resources in each region? In Santoko, for instance, you're looking at fishing, you're looking at agriculture, you're looking at tourism. We can look at all of these things and work with our constituencies, work with our party group to empower them, to get them cracking. This is not rocket science. It can be done. And I recall in 95 when I became the member of parliament, and I actually went into opposition. And do you know, during that time in opposition, we worked so hard. We worked with the NGOs. We work with the embassies. We got so much done for the people. People thought we were in government, and actually we were in opposition. The thing is, it is hard work. It is really, really hard work. But you have to make up your mind
Mm.
to do the hard work. And that is why,
Yeah.
in terms of how I feel this is a full time job. And I feel one must focus and dedicate oneself, right, to make sure that one could strengthen the organization, strengthen each region. Because once you're strong on the ground, nobody can defeat us. You know what it is? 104,000 people just say they're not coming out to vote. Some of the people, when I go throughout the length and breadth of this country, seeing constituents and that sort of thing, as we look to gather support for the 22nd of June. You know, some of the people, the membership, they say sometimes they give a call to one of the leaders in the organization, and they don't get a call back. You know, they feel embarrassed, they feel snubbed, and we look. The only reason why we are here where we are is because of the members of the party group, members of our constituency. So we need to treat them better. We need to work with them. They love us and we love them, right? We need to stop bashing each other. I'm appalled listening to some of the campaign that I'm hearing. And I am saying on this program now, please stop it. This is our party. We are all family. Let us focus on what we can do for the people and for the membership. Let us focus on that, right? And I understand that you know we have embarked on several large projects like Balize House and that sort of thing and whatnot. Fine, Balize House will be completed, right? Regardless of whether who is general secretary or who is in the chair, it's PNM money will fix that building, will finish and complete that building, right? Because we will find the resources. First of all, we have to find what is the state of play with that, and secondly, continue with its completion. We can start building from the floor alone. Let's finish one floor, open up a business there. We can have a museum, do tours. We could do like Disney World and have a gift shop. Sell memorabilia. We have a rich history of the PNM. People want to learn about it. We can have a podcast going there. We could start having advertisements and whatnot. I mean, the PNM have a podcast with respect to Balize House. We can apply for a radio license, have a radio station, get ads going. We have to focus as a business. We have to focus business for that institution because we can no longer have finances controlling us. And this basically is an opportunity for us to listen to the ground. The ground has spoken. 104,000 people have spoken. We need to listen to them. And my plan basically is to put people first. People first. It never fails. And I, Roger Boynes,
Let
will
me ask
be the next general
let me ask
secretary
you
of
this
the People's
question.
National Movement come
Mhm.
June the 22nd. And I am going to take night and day, right, to help in the rebuilding process of the People's National Movement.
Let me ask you this question, Mr. Roger Boynes. Now, House and Farm. Do you believe that it's the General Secretary alone is who had any play in terms of making sure that Balize House um, get off the ground, or was it the people and the membership who was a part and parcel of making sure that Balize get this new look, this new reform of where it is today?
Balize House doesn't belong to one individual. It never had, it never will. Balize House has been built because a culmination of people. 2 cents from a party group member is important. It doesn't matter how much money. Once they give their money, their funds, their heart, their love to build Balisi House. Let me tell you something. We had a car raffle at one time, and you wouldn't believe people from all party groups throughout Trinidad and Tobago contributed to that. So we all have contributed to the construction of Balisi House, not one person. And Balisi House belongs to all of us, not one person. And suppose that one person dies tomorrow,
Second
Balisi House will
question.
continue, and it will. So I am saying
Well,
here on this program that Balisi House will be continued, will be completed, and it is going to be because the people will make it happen. Not one person. The people, the membership of the People's National Movement will complete Balisi House.
second question, and this comes from one of the chatters. Have you received an updated list of those eligible to vote, the names and the contact info?
Well, that is a very good question. I'm glad that that person has asked that question. Now, we were given a list of the membership list a few days ago. We have asked for the contact information to be placed on that membership list. What they in fact gave us was the names, the address, and that is it. I wrote two correspondents asking them, in the interest of fair play, in the interest of justice, I asked them to supply us with all the candidates with the contact numbers. Up to today, they have failed and they have refused to do so. But you know, yesterday, lo and behold, yesterday, one of the persons on a slate took a list, a membership list, a copy of a membership list, and gave it to one of their supporters to start calling people. No, if you sneeze in the east, I will know about it. So I got a copy of that list that they have. And lo and behold, it has all the
Yes.
contact information on it. Phone number, every single thing. So one group have all the information, contact numbers to canvass and to contact members in preparation for the election June 22nd. And the rest of us do not have that information. That is totally wrong. It is unfair, and it cannot and must not be allowed. I shot out, I shoot a correspondence to them today, this morning. I sent a letter to the election supervisory committee. Yes, it's Father's Day, but I have to do the people work. So I realized I have to start doing general sec work. So I sent a correspondence to the election supervisory committee indicating the injustice of it, and also attaching a copy of the list we got with no information, and a copy of the list that the other side got with all the information for immediate attention and action. I gave them 24 hours, 24 hours, right, to correct this. Because at the end of the day, right, the PNM stands for morality. The PNM has we have a constitution, and how we have done our business has always been noble, not like now. Not like now. You see, if we have to concentrate on doing things the right way, having your list prepared, having it done the right way, giving everybody the list with all the contact information, and not hiding it and giving it to one set of people. That is not the PNM way.
But let me ask you this question, Mr. Boynes. Let me ask you this question. What is different from your time to this time in terms of the party structure and how they behaving. What is different?
Let me tell you what is different. I could give you so many examples, but I would like to give you this one. We we recently had a membership meeting in Sangre Grande where we had about 250 persons there. And I was
Right.
out front welcoming everybody
Mm.
as they came in. Everybody was socializing and that sort of thing. You know, there is a certain clique that has developed in this party now, a clique. Eh? And what I noticed, I saw all the clique and them in their car in the parking lot, waiting until the political leader comes into the meeting. When the political leader walks in, they then came out of their vehicles and walked with her, went up to the front, sat down. After the meeting finished, they left. That is not the PNM way. You get here early, you mix with everybody, you mix with the membership, you chat with them, you find out how they're going, you socialize with them. You too big for us up here? And that is wrong. You see, a lot of people haven't gone through party school. They haven't gone through and understand how we do things in this party. It is about respect. We have to respect the people. The people are the ones that have us there. We must have an approach, not an elitist approach, but a people first approach.
Mm. Mm. You talk about a elitist approach. Do you think that the current executive, well, the outgoing executive, do you think that many of them who sat there had an elitist approach to
Well,
dealing with the public and dealing with the members?
I am saying this. Last week, Saturday, we went to a meeting in Tunapuna, and we spoke with several of the members, including several of the councillors there. And that was one of the complaints. They felt that when they called on the phone, they didn't answer them, and they never got back to them. They find, however, now that an election is looming, if they call them, is one ring and they answer it. So these little things matter. Another person said that, okay, like after the meeting is finished, sometimes the persons are not wealthy. Sometimes they take a taxi, their last dollar to come and meeting. At the end of the meeting, if the meeting goes way into the night, sometimes all 9 o'clock or so, if it goes into the night and whatnot, you know you don't have to just jump in your car
Mm.
and go back to your home and whatnot. You have to make sure that everybody gets home. If you The amount of trips we made trips all in the back of Mingo Road, all in the back there. We went up, you know. We made sure that everybody got home,
Mhm.
and sometimes it's just the small things you do or you don't do that matters. And this elitist approach, was something that caused us to have some problems. And I must say that Miss Beckles, for instance, she's humble, and we all know this. She's humble, and she she listens, and and with her and with this new executive that we will have, we will focus on the people with caring hands. We will listen to them. We will work with them. We will build with them. And we will build back this beautiful, great organization so that come 2030 or before, we will be back in office.
Let me ask you this question, Mr. Boynes. Last night, there was rampant attacks on the last two leaders of the party, the former prime minister and the next former prime minister, and even the political leader. well, the last political leader. Do you think that in an internal election, do you think that anybody supposed to be attacking the political leaders who would have served the party?
Now, one has to appreciate the doctrine of collective responsibility. When you sit in a cabinet or you sit in a meeting, a caucus, you all make decisions together. You all stand by it. A real MP, a real person, stands by the decisions they all made. So to come now, after everyone agreed, to come now and start to make excuses and start to attack persons is not the right way. It is wrong and it must be stopped immediately. Now, when you really look and analyze, we still have to do a postmortem. But when you analyze what has taken place, you you would realize that you cannot only blame, right, the past leaders. In fact, you should not do that. You should not do that. Because one has to ask himself, why is it that we lost so much seats? Why? Do you think the PNM just woke up, the PNM membership just woke up within a short space of time and decide not to come out and vote? If each person, each MP is servicing his constituency, then we would have had a different situation. Because sometimes, sometimes you get caught up in building, in focusing on the big buildings. Sometimes you get caught up in focusing on the big projects because there was a lot of work that was done in the Toko Sangre Grande constituency with the highway, the new highway, Almina Clark Highway.
Right.
A lot of paving take place, a lot of, the Valencia Old Road, the hospital. So there was a lot of work that was done. I'm not saying that our PR was the best. However, when it comes to the people, it comes to the people. You must not be fighting with the people. You are in this game. Politics is a game of winning friends and influencing people. Right? I recall sometimes you feel as though people are
Yes.
unfair with what they ask you. Sometimes you feel that, you know, it's as though you're working hard and sometimes you get abused time and time again. But hello, this is the work. I recall as member of parliament, I was servicing my constituents and that sort of thing. Uh, a lady came into the office and says that, Mr. Boynes, I want something from you. I said, well, what is it? How can I help you? She says, I have a rare problem that I need blood. And I need to get a pint of blood from you every month. That's what she said. I called my staff to hear this, hear this. So sometimes it is so unfair what they ask you for. But you have to find a way to be kind to the person. Say, well, okay, look, we can talk to the blood
Yeah.
bank and we can have to have a blood drive and we'll have it done and whatnot and whatnot. It's how your approach to the people are. The approach to go on a platform last night and attack the former leaders and whatnot. That is not the way. It is not the way. And they have to stop it. This is our party. Our party is class. Our party is respect. It's dignity. And we have to conduct ourselves in that manner.
Let
And
me
that
ask.
is why I will never, never, you will never hear me saying anything about anybody. When we are here, we talk about the work. How do we build back the thing? And that is what it's all about. Putting people first, building back together.
Question, Mr. Boynes. And this comes from one of the chatters on the room. Atu is Atu. Why should the PNM be held to a higher standard when the UNC is engaged in a blood sport? They are asking a question.
Well, that's an excellent question because you see, you you can't tell me because somebody is bad, I have to be bad too. No, right? The people have always the people have always felt that the PNM has been the one that has always taken care of them, as it were. When Dr. Eric Williams first came to office and moved us to independence, and we started to move into the realm where we had free education and a number of things. We got our identity, right? Away from the colonial masters. So we got our independence. We got our education. It was such a memorable thing, and the PNM has been in government for most of the time in the history of this country. The PNM has always rebuilt the country back, rebuilt back the economy after it has been raped. The PNM has always been there to come to the rescue of the people and the country. And it has done so before, it will do so again. So that is why the people have come to the conclusion that the party, that the true tried and tested party, the only true tried and tested party in Trinidad and Tobago is the People's National Movement. So we better get our act together now.
Let me answer this question. As a general secretary, does that give you the right to have a seat in the Senate? If let me say the government, let me say like how the party is in opposition, does that give you a seat, an automatic right to be in the Senate
Well,
as the general secretary of the party?
over the years, a custom has come up to in order to assist with the payment of the salary of the GenSec. The A decision to have him or her, as the case may be, as a senator would was one of the solutions. But my take on this is, and I know, this is out for debate. It's in the open forum, and my take on it is simply this: I believe that the GenSec should be a full-time job. He is the CEO of a huge organization. You know what I mean? With thousands of people being part of the institution. So he has to be a full-time player, a full-time CEO. So I believe that this must be full-time, right? I believe that the GenSec has to be in a position. Well, the staff must be paid, but I believe that as a huge organization, properly run and properly organized, we will be in a position to raise the necessary funds. Let me explain to you. Let me explain to you, for instance, right? A political party raise funds? A political party raise funds several ways. It gets donation, the whole events, all different types of things, the whole events and whatnot. They have dues. They could get into to business, at Bally's House, in the 41 constituencies and that sort of thing and whatnot. There's so much things to do. Dues, dues. Now, the dues basically is about $120 per individual. Now, a party group normally will have about 20 members in a party group, right? So that's $2,400 for the year.
24,
Now,
24 members.
2,400 for the year for 20 members, right, for the year. Now, a constituency will
Yeah.
have, let's say, about 30 party groups roughly. Some will have 40, some will have 50 and whatever. So I'm just saying average about 30 party groups. When you multiply that by the 41 constituencies, that's about $3 million per year. No, I'm just saying this. And then how we used to do it long time, You wouldn't just ask a party member, okay, come with your 120. Right? What normally happens is that over a period of time, sometimes after a meeting, you give us a $5, a $2, and the treasurer in the party group takes record. You know, so it is not hurting the party member. The party member can just pay the dues, in a certain way. But at the end of the day, he becomes financial at the end of the period. And that is money that even comes back to help, because as I mentioned, Martin, for instance, was able to look at some party groups, look at some areas, and assist with funding, with great projects that will help them empower themselves. So these are the things that we have to be mindful of. And when when you don't manage, right, the dues process, when you don't manage it, you take the power out of the hands of the party group members, and you give it either to the MP, who will pay the dues and control who come in the party, who come in the executive, or financiers. So in order to stay out,
Mm-hmm.
not have financiers, right, or an individual control the executives and control the process and take it away from the people, this must be managed carefully. How you manage it? You keep the power with the people. You work with your party group members, you help them so that they themselves will be responsible for paying their dues. You help them, right? So that they keep their power. They keep the power.
So what you are basically saying is that, or what we have been told is that the general secretary, when they're not in office, they are being paid a salary, or are they being paid a salary when they're in office and out of office? How
Well,
does it work?
well, the general secretary basically will get us the staff, basically general secretary and the staff. Whether you're in office, you're out of office, you're entitled to be paid a salary and whatnot. I my proposal, I'm different basically,
Right.
right? I'm different. I believe that at least being not in office now, we can do some volunteer work and whatnot, but full time work, right, to rebuild the organization and whatnot. And when the organization gets to a point where it could afford that sort of thing, then we could treat with paying the GenSec. But for now, let us concentrate on paying the staff that runs Balizi House, minus the GenSec, the secretaries and all of those things. People, they have to be paid. Yes, they do.
So let me open it up for the questions. Any questions, or anybody want to call and ask Mr. Roger Boynes any questions? You're free to ask him your questions, and we will then ask him the questions right here. But
Yes,
Mr. Boynes, let me ask you this
yes, sir.
question.
Yes, of course.
Then, if it is that you have to pay the general secretary, why are some people behaving as though, if it is that, then why it is some people are behaving is doing a favor for the party if we are paying him or paying her to manage the affairs of the party?
And precisely, this is a management issue. It's straight management, right? And the thing is, you are being paid, or let me not say you are being paid, because next thing you know is a big issue. I'm not getting paid and all kind of thing and whatnot. You are being retained. You are being retained to act as a manager
Right.
on behalf of the organization, right? So, in that capacity, whatever the remuneration, the consideration may be, that may be you and the organization to discuss that. We can't discuss that over this program. But the fact of the matter is that you are
Mhm.
retained to do a job. And that job is not as though you're doing
Yes.
us any favor. You're not doing us any favor, right? Because there are a lot of people that could do that job. There are a lot of managers in the PNM, right, that could do that job. I am simply just offering myself, but there are other people who could do that job because the PNM has produced a lot of talent.
Mhm.
And this is our party and we want to fix it.
Yes. Mm. Question again. Is there a rule that the funds on hand and expenses of the disbursement of the party should be reported to the membership at a regular interval or at regular
Yes, of
intervals?
course. There's the treasurer of the organization must always give a report to the general council, right? And that report goes
Right.
when we have annual convention. That is tabled at the annual convention so we can actually see the accounts. All members can look at the accounts and whatnot, and they can question it. They can question that general council, they can
Yes.
question it at the convention, So it is open to the membership. You're quite right. It is open to the membership, right? Because that money is not one man money. That money belongs to the organization. So there has to be accountability, and PNM is well known for demonstrating accountability, that sort of thing. So we as the new executive look forward to examining every aspect of it and to give account to the people as to the state of play, the status of everything, the status of every single thing that obtains now, and take it up and move it to a higher level with a higher standard.
Let me ask you this question. Six weeks, 12 weeks, or even 6 months. In your opinion, do you think that we should have been ready to win a general election or local election, and were we ready or not?
So when you look at the history, we lost votes in the two last local election, and yes, we lost both votes and the government in this general election. Right. Now,
Right.
the thing is, with a general secretary managing the machinery properly, one must be able to withstand an election anytime it is called. What we have here is
Mm-hmm.
a political party. What is the function of a political party? The main function is to win election. How do you win election? You win election by making sure that all the organs of this great party is functional, properly functional at any given time an election may be called. So excuse after excuse after excuse. It could be 6 weeks, 6 days, 6 months. We must be prepared at all times. And that is what a good
Mm.
manager does. And I am that manager. So come June the 22nd, I intend to be the next general secretary if you will have me, if the membership will have me. But I pledge to try my very best. I give you my word.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's take a call here. Caller, go ahead. Yes, caller, go ahead.
Mr. Boynes,
Yes, sir.
I am listening to your interview and it's a very learning interview for me, right? And the question I would like to ask you, right?
Yes.
When an election is called, right? Does the organization, the members of the organization, put all effort on board to win that election, and all internal election and convention is second to that general election? And one more question I would
Indeed.
like to ask you. You talk about
Yes.
collective responsibility in an organization, right? That when you're in a cabinet or in a grouping of a meeting and a decision was made, right? It's supposed to be kept within that framework. And it have some people now coming out and saying, I'm telling you, I listened to the interview, they wasn't on board with the election. And this is what I am learning a lot of things here from you tonight. And you will have my support totally because you have given me a lot of information. And this is the question I will like you to answer to me that when an election is called, is does everything on board is put aside and focus on the big prize of the election, Mr. Boynes. Thank you
And
very much and have a good night.
thank you. And I want to agree with
Thanks,
the
Walla.
caller. Yes, I want to agree with the caller. It is well known. It is the custom. It's the convention. It is almost the law that anytime an election is called, anytime, right? Two things. Everything else must be put aside, and we must focus on the prize. The prize is to win the government, whether it is local government or general government. That is the prize, and that is what we have to do. And secondly, all bickerings, all bickerings. You don't like this one. You don't like the next person and whatnot. From the time the bell ring, from the time the bell ring, every man, Jack, woman, Jane on board. Everybody on board working for with a common cause. That is to achieve the victory. Gentlemen, is quite right. Secondly, secondly, there's something called collective responsibility. You can't tell me you sit down, and everybody had a say in a room, and afterwards when you come out, you know, you're leaking the information and then claiming that you didn't agree with it and that sort of thing. That is childish. That's childishness, right? That is not the PNM way. They need to stop it and stop it now. It demonstrates that a lot of them were not grounded in the training of respect, the training of keeping your mouth shut and not disclosing the business in the public because we have what is called collective responsibility. We took a decision together in order for one to demonstrate cabinet qualities. There's something called collective responsibility at cabinet. So if you can be trusted as an MP, then when we get in the government, can we put you in cabinet? You might take the business of the cabinet and God knows where it might be. So we are saying whatever decision was made by our MPs and our leaders and that sort of thing, right? There is the doctrine of collective responsibility. So they should stop attacking each other and stop it now.
Well, any other questions anybody will have for Mr. Roger Boynes? Well, I have one question I want to ask you, Mr. Roger Boynes. And this question is you as the you as the general secretary of the party, is it your business to dabble your hand in all the different arms of the executive to control what they could do and what they can do? What is really the
Well,
role and the function of what you supposed to do as the general secretary?
well, the general secretary basically is the secretary to General Council, Central X, and the annual convention. So whenever any decision that is made by these body, by the party itself, by the body, right? Any decision must be implemented
Mm,
by the GenSec. So
mm,
he has to implement the decision. Let me give you an example, for instance. If for instance, there is an irritant, right? Some major problem in the constituency and whatnot,
right.
some big hole in front of a school, as it were. And time again, it has not been repaired. A party group member brings it to the attention of his chairman. The chairman takes it to the executive of the part of the constituency. The constituency now, through its general council member, goes to the general council meeting and brings it up. these are the concerns of the constituents. It is recorded there and whatnot. The minister, who's also ex officio in general council, stands up. I will look into it. Okay? So, as such now, the GenSec, who by the constitution is charged to implementing the decision of these august bodies, general council included, he then now has to make sure he follows up with that particular minister, not for any other thing, but to give implementation for the decision that General Council made to fix that pothole. So he follows up with all the different, to give action to the decision of the party. Not his or her own what he or she wants, other than what the party has dictated. We have a constitution, and that constitution is one of the best constitutions ever. Most Caribbean territories have adopted our constitution.
Mr. Boynes, let me ask you this question, and this is my final question. My final question. There's a letter that is circulating in the public domain that could be very much damning. It's from one named Dane Wilson, and he is questioning the legitimacy of an election that would have transpired on May the 6th, I believe it was. He said that he sent a letter to the general secretary of the party, and he has gotten no response. In fact, the general secretary would have stated that he did not see or did not come into contact with this particular letter. As a general secretary of a party, when correspondence are coming to the office, is it not the responsibility of those who work under the general secretary, like those in the office, to sign some form of documentation to state that they did receive the letter and on what date they received this letter?
You see, it's all about management, as we have discussed tonight. It's about management. Any document that comes into the office of the general secretary, the office of the institution, must be recorded, whether it comes by soft, right, by email, etc., or whether the hard copy comes by way of mail. There's a process that speaks to receiving and acknowledgement of receiving, and establishing the date and time of receiving these documents. It is key. I'm not just talking because I'm an attorney at law by profession, but just habit of how things have to be done and proper management. Any document that comes inside is important. The people take the time to write and pencil a letter. It is important. It have important issues and whatnot. So it is about proper management. So it is not any excuse to be saying you didn't get it, you didn't receive it. That is just ducking and hiding. Embrace the situation, deal with the situation. If it is that they didn't write a letter and they said, okay, this is the letter, I got it, right? However, we can't deal with it at this time. We will deal with it at another time. Or if it is that they can deal with it now, deal with it now. Why run? There's no need to run. Deal with your issues.
But Mr. Boynes, just to do a follow up on what you just said. But if it is that the party, because the party was told that you must have at least 15 members to sign the letter, and if 15 members sign the letter, then it's supposed to trigger off a special meeting from General Council. That's one. And two, if General Council meet on the matter, let me say they meet on the matter on Monday, wouldn't that not have not wouldn't that not be causing problems for the election that is also supposed to take place at this point in time?
Well, the election will take place on Sunday. Sunday.
Well, Sunday, next week Sunday.
Sunday. And he would have to be given 7 days notice. The general council would have to be given 7 days notice of the meeting. So
Right.
so either way, it would be called after the election. But I will give Dane the assurance that when I get inside there, right, I will address his concerns.
All right, and just three questions from the people who are asking in the chat room. If
Yes,
you are
please.
not successful, they're asking, would you be helping in the rebuilding process?
Yes, indeed, I intend to. I intend to. The answer is
Oh,
yes. Plain and simple, yes. This is our
oh,
party. All hands on deck. Our party needs us now more than ever. And we all have to play a role in bringing back the party to where it is. This party is important. A strong PNM is important for Trinidad and Tobago, for to uphold and protect the rights, freedom of the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. Yes, my answer is yes.
all right, the next question here from one of the chatters. Mr. Boynes, while I like how you speak, where have you been for the past 10 years? I am
Oh, you want
concerned about the gap and want the finish it and
yes.
want to feel comfortable with you coming forward for service now. Please explain.
Yes, I'm glad that you asked that question. Because what has happened is that I have been in the constituency of Toko Sangregrandi, formerly Toko Manzanilla and whatnot. Sometimes Dr. Rowley would have had some concern, especially when the work was being done on the highway, and the two highways, and the opposition had
Yes.
mentioned a highway going to the highway to nowhere, and the port, and denouncing the port. I would have
Right.
started up a session to indicate to the people of Trinidad and Tobago, right, being asked by the prime minister to do so, right, the importance, the need for it, and that we are people too in the east. Secondly, right, in 20 not the last election, local election, the one before, I was the campaign manager for Nigel Safe. I worked hand in hand with the constituency of Komutu Manzanilla and ensured that I put all the resources for that campaign. I took night and day and worked the case. We were not successful, but we got some ground in that particular area, and we used the opportunity to bring water. We liaised with Mr. Hunt, who was the public utilities minister at the time, and we got all the names from all the people. We dug up all of the information over the years. I put it together as a manager should, and got Mr. Hunt to bring water to the Fleming village in the Manzanilla district, where they never had water. Almost 134 years that village is in place, and they never had water. Up to now, these people, anytime I go there, it's like carnival. Let me also say this. In the Fishing Pond area, we contacted TNTech, the regional corporation, and we made sure we got the lights, electricity infrastructure to light up our ground for the sports that we held. We have been holding sporting programs throughout the length and breadth of this community. Let me tell you something. I will never stop doing charity work. I will never stop doing social work. That when you do things like that and you help people, you get a good night's sleep. You know. That is your pride and joy when you help people. You know. So
Mr. Boynes? We kinda lost him a little bit there. All right. Well, he there, but we're not hearing him. All right. I think he went dark on the screen there. I'm not too sure. just check and make sure because we are getting some load shedding on our side here, and I know a number of people are very, very much. All right, Mr. Boynes, you're here. Not hearing him though. Yeah, you get probably get a phone call. Mr. Boynes, your mic, check your mic,
Right. Okay. Good.
your mic.
I can now hear you.
Right, good. All right. So, and one last question here that, and I think this should be the last question here. Um, Let me just get it here. All right. So, mhm, right, right. So the person's asking here, were you located? Where are you located? And if Grandy, why did the party lose Grandy? That's the basically question we're asking.
And I would want to take this and add this to another question that was asked and discussed earlier. When you had indicated, you had asked if it is that it's the two leaders that he wants to blame. And I will tell you, it is not that. We all are to blame
Yes.
because you see, Dr. Eric Williams once said, "It's only the PNM could be the PNM." You know? And I am telling you, the amount of infighting that obtained up here,
Mm.
infighting. I was in Tunapuna last night, yesterday for Father's Day celebration. No, Saturday, sorry, yesterday for Father's Day celebration. And
Mm.
Tunapuna had even more infighting than in Toko Sangregan. So when you examine the situation and go through the length and breadth, what took place in Labrie? What took place in Labrie? Right? When you hear it, same thing. Right? Infighting. So as a manager, the GenSec is charged with managing, right, the institution, which includes every single constituency. You have to manage conflict. You have to manage the thing. Because at the end of the day, you want everybody working hand in hand together for a common purpose, and that is to bring victory for the People's National Movement. Now, when we lose, as we have lost election, you have thousands of people that have lost their jobs.
Mm.
They are going home to their family without knowing where the next dollar will come. You know, the caller asks, what have I been doing? You know, without anybody asking me to. I
I believe
sent
somebody must be
my
calling.
email and everything to some of those people,
Somebody must
reforestation,
be calling.
CPEP, URP workers,
Somebody calling.
and I told them to contact me. Let us examine
Yeah,
your
but I think somebody
situation to
calling.
ensure that you are not wrongfully discharged.
That's what going on.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I think somebody called him, and we will have to postpone our next guest to tomorrow because we do have the facilities here for until 10 o'clock, and they have graciously allowed us another half an hour. Oh, Mr. Boyne, we're back.
What's that?
Mr. Boyne?
Yes.
Oh no, you're back. You're back. So, I want to thank you, Mr. Boyne, for coming in, and feel free to come in, and we would like to come out on one of your road shows and see the rest of the independents because we realize that the
Yes.
independent team is
Yes.
on the road and they're going out and trying to get an opportunity to be heard. So
Yes.
we would like to come and probably do a live broadcast
Yes.
and see and hear the rest of the independent team and what they have to present and offer to the members of Trinidad and Tobago.
Yes, indeed.
Any final words?
Well, I would like to ask the membership to look at my experience, look at my love, my care, as has been demonstrated over the years to people, to the membership, to constituencies, to the party group members throughout Trinidad and Tobago. And I give you my word that I will try my very best to manage the institution in the best interest of you, the membership, and your family, and to ensure that I bring a help to bring, with the help of the leadership, help to bring the victory to the back to the PNM in 2030 or before, so that we could take the party into governance, and thereafter work this well-oiled machine to make sure that the mistakes of the past are never made again, and that we put the people first, the membership first. The love and care for the people is of paramount importance. That is the PNM way.
Hmm. And okay, and we want to thank Mr. Roger Boynes for coming in and being on Bounce Up on the Ring of Fire. So
Thank you.
before he goes, let's ask the members, do you all give the approval or do you all give him some bois? Because you're not into Ring of Fire. I forgot to tell you that, Mr. Boynes, that you entered the Ring of Fire.
Jano